Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time for a vacation like you've never experienced before. So many people talk about it. Sometimes they pull a trigger on it. Sometimes they don't. I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm talking even about me. I should be there. I've never been there. I'm talking about Ireland, and seen in a different way. She has helped so many people plan a vacation to Ireland, but tours unlike any other. Secret Ireland Tours. That's the name of her company. And she's May Hernon, and she's with us today. We're going to learn a lot. How are you today, May?
I'm doing fantastic. Steve, it's great to talk to you and to talk to all the people all around the world.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I every year I say I'm going to go to Ireland, and then another friend goes, and then I see the pictures, and I'm like, oh, I should probably want. Got to happen there. What is the charm? I'm 61% Irish. I'm going to say that through the DNA test. What is the charm that brings people to Ireland? What is the feeling? What is the vibe? Tell us.
Well, it's funny. It's only a very small country and the weather isn't 100% fantastic. If
Mm,
the weather was fantastic, the place would be sunk with all the people
sure.
that would land on it. It's a beautiful country, Steve, but it's not just the country, it's the people.
Mm,
You know, I did a history talk. I'm from the northwest of Ireland. For anyone who's not too familiar with Ireland, if you think of Ireland as a teddy bear, I'm in the neck of it. That's the
okay.
only way. Okay, that makes sense to you, does it?
Sure.
So I'm on the west side. I'm on the American side of Ireland, not the English side. So but I live in Kentucky now. And I'm a traditional singer. I would sing all the very old ancient songs. And I would also talk about the history of Ireland. And I remember one time a man was at one of my talks in a library and he was sitting at the back of the room and he put up his hand and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And he says, "I've been everywhere in the world." He says, "I don't understand it. Why is Ireland and the people there the nicest people I've ever met?" And I thought, wow, this is nice. But it actually made me think. I had never thought about it before. But you know what I think it is, Steve? I think it's because we're an island people and we were an island people for so long. And for so long, people came in to kind of take the island off us and we had to fight them off. And then we had this great community spirit in Ireland. And when anybody came in to just visit us, we welcomed them like family. And we do. And that's my whole aim with the tour company. I saw so many people when I was living there. For instance, I come from a very small village in South Sligo in the northwest of Ireland. And about 10 miles from me, there's a town of Boyle. And in that town, there's an amazing ruins of a 12th century Cistercian abbey. Now, to walk in through the ruins of this building, you would see how amazing and how absolutely fantastic that building must have been in its heyday.
Mm.
But when I was living there, I used to see these buses arrive and 50 people would jump out of the bus, Steve, and they'd take photographs and they'd go back into the bus again. And I remember thinking, well, how such a waste of time and energy and money. They don't even know what they're looking at. They're not getting a sense of the place. They're not getting any history of the place. They're not getting any of the local myths and legends of the place. And it's so rich with all of that. And that stuck in my mind. But then when I came over to America, now if I'm talking too much, tell me, because
Not at all. I'm loving
I have a
it. I'm
tendency to
learning.
go
I'm
on.
I'm I'm learning. Trust me, we all are.
But yeah, so when I came over to America and I started performing, I performed all over. I performed in about 27 states. And I'd stand up and I would sing the songs and I would talk about the history and the area and the people that were in the songs. And people started coming up saying to me, "Did you ever think about putting a group together and bringing them back and showing them all these places that you talk about in your songs?"
Hmm.
And I'm a great believer in signs and God shows me where to go. I would never have thought about setting up a tour company. But when this was said to me about 30 times, the exact same sentence, I thought, well, okay, I have to look at this because I know that people are getting ripped off, and I know that they're coming over and they're getting up on a bus at 6:30 in the morning, and they're on a bus all day long, and they jump out of a bus and they take a photograph and then they jump back in again. And itineraries on paper look very full, but you're running around like a herd of cats. You know what I mean?
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're missing the flavor. You're missing the culture. It's robotic. You could be anywhere. You could be in the
yeah,
UK. You could be in South Africa. I'm on a bus. I'm getting out. I'm taking a picture. I'm getting back on the bus. Oh, where are we going next? What's for lunch? You're not experiencing the culture. I was in a small pub 2 weeks ago and ran into a gentleman who was from England and another who was from Ireland. And they've been in the States for a while. I couldn't stop talking. It was just fascinating,
yeah,
their viewpoint and their just the way they present and the way they talk. And it's different from, the States. And I found it so interesting. And I would love to be in those countries and just,
yeah.
kind of feel just how you doing? Let's talk.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
that's the thing about Ireland, you see, and I bring people to, I mean, there's some, I'll bring them to local rural family run hotels mostly. Now
mm,
there are times you have to put them into hotel
a
that would
chain.
be a chain hotel, but I always try to give them the experience of staying in a castle as well, a castle hotel the night before they leave Ireland. So they
Wow.
get all the experiences. And with the tours now, I have health and wellness tours and I have fun tours. Like if you have a family, a group of people, you just want to have an experience of, you have a load of cousins and you have a load of sisters and uncles and whatnot, and you just want to go over there. We can do it. Or I've got an ambassador program, Steve. You might be interested in this. Will I
Tell me
tell you
more,
about it?
please.
Well, I have an ambassador program, somebody that has a following. I don't take a large group of people. I only take 25 to 30 people because I like it to be intimate. I like it to be, where people get to know each other and get to make friends with each other. And there's flexibility in a smaller group. So a person that like yourself that would have a big following, we could put a tour together. You're the star of the show, and I look after you in all ways.
Hmm. We have to stop at the Guinness factory though.
Oh yeah, we can start. We create whatever tour the people want. It can be a paranormal tour. It could be a health and wellness tour. It could be just we're going from castles to ancient sites
Sure.
to beaches to waterfalls to whatever you want to do. I mean, Ireland has it all.
How are you able to get to everything that you want to in a short amount of time? The island's, fairly large. I guess I'm what I'm getting from you is identifying what you're into, whether it's quaint
Yeah,
small villages, whether you're looking for the castles,
yeah.
and then you direct them.
Well, if it's a tour, I have a tour bus and I have a tour guide. And all they have to do is arrive in Dublin at the airport and we look after them until we bring them back to the airport again. We organize everything for them. And we have the tour guide there with them all the time. And
Mm.
we have the bus and we bring them to all these magical places on the
See,
bus.
that's the magic ticket right there. I once went to a Caribbean island and I stayed at the home of somebody I know, and I went there a few times. So he has since sold it. Beautiful place, right on a cliff, wonderful. But he connected me with somebody who a groundskeeper, if you will, that gave me all the information, took me around, everything I needed. Hey, I want to barbecue tonight. Where do I go? All right, this is where you go. That is essential. And
It
and
is.
somebody you can trust. This was a friend, so I don't have any question. This is what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. That's the experience you want because you could fly somewhere and sign up for a tour. Who's who's directing you? Who are these people? You never know what the experience is when it's vetted by somebody like
yeah.
yourself. That's the
And
difference.
a lot of the people, and I'm not kind of saying anything against some of the big tour companies. A lot of them are not even Irish.
Hmm.
you know.
Oh,
And
boy.
they have some fantastic tours and they go to all the well-known places. But you see, I know all the little places in the back roads.
And those are the places that the rest of us would normally not go to. Right around,
Yeah,
we're in one town, two towns over from where I am, and it's a town where I grew up in here in the New York area, suburb of. Is an Italian restaurant. I pass by it. It's been there about a year or so. I look and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go there. All my friends are saying, oh my gosh, great food, family style. Because they said that, I'm going to go. I passed it the other
yeah,
day and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I got to go there. But unless somebody tells you,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're not going to feel comfortable.
And that's the other reason I won't take a big group either, because there's so many places in Ireland you can't go with a big bus.
Ah, interesting. Wow.
You just can't, the roads are not there, and there's so many places you can reach if you don't have a big bus.
Gotcha.
I mean, I know I'd
Interesting.
make an awful lot more money by filling a big bus, but I don't particularly, I want people to see Ireland and I want them to experience the locals and again, we're a family of musicians. And when you come up to the Northwest, I always organize all my musician friends to come out and entertain you. And if I happen to be the tour guide, I get you up dancing and I insist on people singing. And we
Wow.
we sing on the bus and we tell stories on the bus and we just have a great time.
Love it.
You know.
You have a whole bunch of tours on your website. By the way, tell everybody what your site is, how we find you.
Okay. It is Secret Ireland Tours LLC.com.
So much on there. I love the categories: happy tours for
Happy Tours.
2025,
Yeah.
spooky tours for 2026, and on and on and on. If
And
we were
and
going island hopping, you're planning my vacation,
okay.
May. You're planning it out for me right now. I want to hop around. I want to see a variety of things. Um, where am I going?
Well, first of all, it's your choice. If you were joining that tour, you would be flying into Dublin. You'd spend a day or two in Dublin. I'd bring you around Guinness, the Guinness Storehouse. You could go to the Jameson distillery. I could bring you to. There's a leprechaun museum in Dublin that
Ma-
people. Honestly, it's actually quite interesting. I've brought people to it. Dublin Castle. There's so many places in Dublin you could visit. I'd bring you out on the second day to Powers Court House and Gardens and the Waterfall and Glendalough, and then we'd move out of Dublin and we'd go towards the west and the northwest. I'd bring you to Galway. Galway is fantastic. I would bring you out to the islands, the Aran Islands. It is just amazing. And I'd spend a night out there in the Aran Islands with you. And it's off the west coast of Ireland, it's off Galway. There's three
hmm.
islands, but you'd go to the main one. There's ancient sites there. There's fantastic seafood restaurants there. And the people speak the Irish language. Tá si den an géal béle labhairt ach bhhaid sibh cant as Gaeilge. In other words, they're able to speak English, but they prefer to speak in the Irish language. And
Wow.
you'd be able to hear it, and they're a unique type of people. And then there's an island off County Mayo called Inishbofin, beautiful island. And again, they speak English. They speak English all the time. And again, it's a beautiful island. It's just a different type of vacation,
Oh, sure,
you know.
sure. When you say beautiful island, La Isla Bonita, what what makes it beautiful?
It's rugged, it's untouched, it's not commercialized. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just, and it has a distinct landscape, and all of the um, walls are a very special stone and they're built in a very special way. All of these islands and these fields were handmade by the people that lived there. They had to really, it was hard work to try and move the stone out of it and get the soil in a condition that you could grow grass and you could feed your cattle and plant your potatoes and your vegetables and whatever. But and they have then you've got your ocean all around you, and then you've got the 12 bends. You look towards Galway or you look towards Ireland, the mainland, and you see the scenery. And honestly, it's breathtaking. It is absolutely breathtaking.
Tell me about the weather. I've never looked deeper into it. The time of the year you go. If you went in the winter, what would you expect?
Well, all I can say to you about the weather is I would not be able to say to you, in the summer it's good, in the autumn it's mild, and in the winter it's cold. I can't
What
say
what's
that.
what's cold?
Um, oh, now, let's say January, February, March. That would be cold. But we don't have the type of weather that you would have here in America. You don't have extremes of heat or cold. You'd have windy, wet weather as opposed to freezing cold weather. You know what I mean?
Sure. So you're in
You could have, yeah.
Fahrenheit. What's an average January temperature in
Oh,
Ireland?
you see, I still don't know
I knew you
anything
were going to
about
do that,
Fahrenheit.
and I can't
I'm
convert.
still centigrade. Wait till we see. Um, Probably a September would be 50, 55, 60.
Okay.
No, maybe October, November would be that. September would be warmer. June, this summer was very bad in Ireland. They were telling me that they had only a few,
When you say bad, what do you mean?
it was raining.
Raining.
It was
Okay.
raining most of the time. Yeah, it was raining. It wasn't cold, but it was raining. Normally it's mild to warm, but it's never hot, hot, hot like we'd have here.
Sure. Sure. Wow. And January daytime temp, are we talking like, 40 somewhere around there Fahrenheit? Or you're not sure?
What's
In
40 in centigrade? Isn't it terrible? I don't
I'll
know.
get somebody to
Still, I'm
convert
here
that for us
11
while I'm
years and
here.
I still don't know how to translate it
What
into.
brought you here, May?
I got married to a guy from Cincinnati.
Oh wow. And how'd you
Yeah, he
get how'd
heard
you
me sing on the radio one night and he contacted me. He wanted to buy my first CD.
now
And
he heard you, I want to share you're a recording artist as well, and have CDs and you did say before that you perform. Um, where was he listening? Was it in Ireland or was it in the States?
he had been in Ireland in 2000 and he had been listening to one of the local radio stations. And when he came back to America, he tuned into the local radio station or he tuned into online radio or something. I don't really know exactly where he tuned, but he heard a song that I sing and it's called Kilkelly, Ireland. And it's actually a great song. It's a number of letters that were taken from a pile that were found in an attic in Maryland in America. And it was from a father in Ireland to his son in America. And there was a letter taken out of each decade. And, it's all about the son leaving and whatever he does, he shouldn't work on the railroad or he shouldn't work on the canals. And they're
Wow.
always they're telling him, well, your mother died and Bridget was there and your brothers were there and then your father is doing well, but then your father died and why don't you think about coming home for a holiday? We'd all love to see you. But there's about 5 or 6 verses in it, and it really is a very moving. There's every sort of emotion in that song. But he heard that song, and he had been singing it with a whole pile of banjos behind him, which I can't kind of get my head around that. But however, he wanted to buy the CD and he wrote to me and I ignored it. Not that I ignored it. That's a bad thing to say. I didn't actually ignore it, Steve. I just didn't answer it on time. And then he wrote again and I felt bad. So I kind of decided I better make it up to him and write to him and tell him about the culture of the village and blah, blah, blah. And he came over
Wow.
in 2023. All he wanted to do was play his guitar behind me while I sang, and he wanted to experience what we call a session. You'd call it a jamming in
Sure,
America,
sure.
but we call it a session. A whole pile of traditional musicians get together. And himself and his son came over, and we met one weekend, and then the following year he came over again, and that was 2004, and that's when we started our relationship.
Wow. What a story. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
And it's connected to Ireland.
yeah.
Huh. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm you're charming.
Thank you so much.
You really are. It's just it's wonderful. Never been there. I feel like I'm home.
There you
Like I don't
go.
know.
Well,
And
we have a saying, Steve, Irish blood always goes home. You might be the one that'll bring your blood home.
I think that's got to happen. Is
Yeah.
and it's always been on my radar, and I am going to be. You've already said it, but I'm going to be honest. Of all the places to visit, you know, time is short, especially vacation time, things like that. And so it's like, well, if I'm going to do something, it's going to be warm with palm trees, but you don't know until you know. And I'm getting from you that, and seeing friends and pictures and everything, being there, you don't need the palm trees, you don't need the warm weather, you need the people.
Yeah, you do. You do. You need the people, you need the experience, you need to see how other people live in other people in other countries, and just the friendship that you experience. Because people, a lot of my groups, actually, I'll tell, can I tell you a story about one particular woman?
I wish you
We
would.
were we were in this graveyard in Sligo. W.B. Yeats is buried in it. If you've ever heard of W.B. Yeats, I'm sure people have. And I had a group of people with me from around the Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky area. And we walk into a little restaurant that was beside the graveyard. And I met an old friend of mine. He was a musician. He's passed since, God rest his soul, he's passed since. But his second name was Meehan. And there was a girl on the tour, and her second name was Meehan, but she had never in her life met anyone with a surname like hers.
Wow.
So anyway, I says, Vicky, come over until I introduce you to somebody. I says, you'd never know, you might even be related. So he sat down and he talked to her. He was delighted to talk to her, and he told her about the history of the name and the history, his family history and everything. They ended up being very, very good Facebook friends, and they kept in communication for years after that tour. And that's what I love.
Wow.
That's what I love. I love to see people, they walk into the airport and people are kind of shy and they're not talkative, and they're,
You're in a
they don't
different
want,
world. You're in a different
yeah,
country. So
exactly.
and let's be honest, the way things are these days, you're guarded, you just watch
Yes,
and make
yeah,
sure everything,
yeah,
I don't know what to expect, what to trust and all that. I
yeah,
get my bearings before
yeah.
I move on.
But the walk in, and then you'll see them on the second day, they're a little bit looser. On the third day, they're laughing with each other and they're beginning to group up. And then on the fourth day, they're all beginning to make friends. And then on the last day, you see them all hugging each other and, exchanging numbers. And, some of them would even cry when they're leaving. But then you get back to the States and you see them communicating on Facebook and they're visiting each other.
Sure. Wow.
And to be part of that, to me, it's worth everything to be part of that, to be able to watch that develop from not even wanting to talk to anyone to actually visiting each other maybe months down the road or maybe the following year. I just think it's great. I love it.
You don't see that happen when people travel, do vacations, things like that. You don't, because
Yeah.
it's exactly what you said. Get on the bus, get off the bus, take a picture. It's all robotic. You don't form that relationship, not just with the people, but with the land and the culture.
Yeah.
I got to believe when somebody goes to Ireland, they take a piece of it with them,
Yeah, they do. And
right?
it's amazing. There's other times you'll see people, and it's very funny. There was one woman, and no matter where we went, no matter where we stopped, her comment was, I wonder how much would it be to buy a house here? And I'm saying, you can't buy a house everywhere. I mean, but yeah, and I don't believe in Russian people. If you're going to visit someplace, you need time to check it out. You need time to listen to the local historian or the local tour guide. You need
Sure.
time to be able to walk around and just enjoy it. You're on
Take it all
vacation.
in. We don't
Yeah,
do that now. I mean, so many
yeah,
people are running nonstop just to sit and do nothing,
yeah,
just to take it all in, look at a leaf on a tree. It's all wonderful.
yeah.
We need to change the way
And
we
I
operate.
always, when I bring them to the ocean, I'll say, now just stand and close your eyes and take in a few deep breaths and clean out your lungs and
Mm,
just relax and let the whole world go by and don't worry about a thing. You're
yep.
here, you're safe, you're healthy, and just enjoy the fresh air. And there's nothing like the fresh air in Ireland.
Mm. I've converted the air temp of low 40s, so that would be like 4 to 6 Celsius, and I was wondering if that's around the wintertime temp. Or would it
It'd probably be higher. It would be higher.
really?
It'd probably be 7, 8, 9 Celsius.
Oh,
Yeah.
in the winter, so we're probably
Yes.
talking close to 50 Fahrenheit in that
Yes.
territory.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because we don't have extremes. No, we don't have extremes.
Oof. Wow, that's a place to go in the
But
winter.
I will always, you see, I have this, I always send out all these emails to people. I'd say they're probably annoyed at me most of the time because I'll advise them what to pack and how to pack, and I'll send out a video of how I pack and
Because you
and
care.
what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and you don't need to bring a hairdryer, and you should bring a washcloth, and I give and bring plenty of meds if you're on medication, bring plenty of medication, and you need an adapter for your phone if you're going to plug in and I send all these emails out to people, and they're all set. They know exactly what to do and what not to do before they leave
Mm.
the country at all.
And you don't need to pack any peace because you're going to find that when you go to Ireland.
Exactly, you will.
Hmm.
Any amount of it, yeah. Any amount of it.
How does it begin? If somebody it's time to go, or maybe go again, but do it right. They go to your website and start a conversation with you
If
there.
they could contact me. Supposing, for instance, you had a group of people I had a family and they were celebrating the 50th wedding anniversary of the mother and father. So there was sons, there was daughters, there was uncles, aunts, cousins, and friends. There was about 22 of them altogether. So one of the sons decided he was going to put this tour together. And God love him. He spent all of his time on TripAdvisor and something else. And he heard about me and he said, "Can you look at my itinerary?" And I looked at it and I said, "How many days?" Usually I would suggest to people 8 nights, 9 days is enough. You could do longer, you could do shorter, but shorter, you're, you're pushing it. You'd be better off with 8 or 9, 10 days max. You don't need any longer.
Hmm.
You don't need to see the whole country. If you want to see, if you want to spend time really getting to know places, running around the whole country is not the way to do it because you won't get to spend time in places. Whereas if you select a certain area and go there and really, really enjoy it and really experience it, it's way better. And then you have something to come back for again. But he showed me this itinerary and I said, "I hope you don't mind. I'm going to say you're wasting an awful lot of time. You're going straight up from the south, right up to the north, and you're missing everything." So he says, "Well, would you create it for me?" And I says, "Yeah, I would." And he says, "Well, would you be able to do the whole thing?" I says, "Yeah." So we did the whole thing. We organized the bus. I did all the bookings. I did the itinerary. We went through the itinerary. I showed him exactly where he'd be going. And I organized everything. So all I had to do, I create a web page. I create a payment platform. Everybody can see the itinerary. And all they have to do is pay their deposit and pay their balance and arrive in Dublin on the particular day of the start of the tour. We meet them in Dublin Airport and we take them from there.
Wow.
And we look after them totally. If there's somebody who's into paranormal, we've got these paranormal tours with all these amazing ambassadors. I've got Dave Schrader is a very well-known person. Rob Thompson, Patty Negri, she's with Ghost Adventures from Hollywood. I've got health and wellness tours. I've got, Steve, this might be something for people that might be interested. I have a very good friend who is a druid and she has a healing centre in County Kerry. And I have this woman from Salem, Ohio, who has also a healing centre. And she's bringing over 20 people over to the County Kerry Healing Centre. So they're going to learn, they're going to have workshops on healing through music, healing through herbs, healing through art, different things. And we have tours as well. We'll bring them
Wow.
out a couple of days. We'll bring them around the Ring of Kerry and around the Ring of Beara. It's beautiful. We'll have 2 or 3 evening tours as well. They'll be taking trails around ancient sites as well as doing the workshops. And this lady, this druid, is actually a multi-linguist and she's a multi instrumentalist as well. so they will experience the real culture of the country as well.
My
And
gosh.
yeah, yeah,
Something,
yeah,
literally something for everyone, no matter. And by the way, on the wellness tour, I believe, and I've said it here a ton of times, we all have things we need to heal from. We
yeah,
all do. And there's
yeah.
many different modalities, right down to herbals and all of that. May is the best way to go to the website, secretislandtoursllc.com.
Yeah, Secret Ireland, IRELAND, tours, LLC.com. And then they can contact me. It's MAI. It May as the month of May, but it's spelled MAI. It's a thing from our village, Steve. Everybody is spelled MAI. They don't spell it MAY. It's a kind of a village thing. MAI at Secret Ireland Tours, LLC.com. And if anyone wants to contact me and wants to put a tour together or just join one of the tours, or I've got packages as well for, let's say, 1 to 4 people, if anyone wants to just take one of the packages, or I consult with people and I help them with their itinerary, or I take all the work out of it for them and I do all the booking for them.
Amazing. I don't see a reason why somebody wouldn't go. We're at that point. It's just wonderful, wonderful
Yeah.
people, wonderful country, wonderful culture. May, thank you so much for today. Thanks for all the insight. And just you. Thanks for you. You're
Thanks very much, Steve. And
wonderful.
I just want to say to everybody, I pride myself on giving a very, very good value for money. I don't rip people up, and we do an installment plan as well if people want to use it. So, it makes it easier for people, but I don't believe in overcharging people.
Sure.
I want to bring people over to Ireland, and you're not going to do it if you're going to charge them too much. So
Honestly, my intuition is people say it's pretty good. You didn't even have to say that. I already detected that.
Yeah.
You want people to enjoy that country.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really what it's almost as if you're having friends over.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today. And I'm looking forward somehow, some way we catch up again.
Absolutely, Steve.
Thank you.
Anytime. It'll be lovely. Thank you so
Same.
much. And thanks
Thank
to
you.
everybody for listening in and listening to this old Irish woman.
I could do it 24/7, and I really mean that. All right. Well, coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.